Hi there, Phil Simborg for the USBGF. I had a fun weekend last weekend in LA. Didn't win in the Open, but I won the Blitz, which are 5-point matches, and went undefeated in that and did very well. Had a lot of fun and captured that trophy. And with my partner, Michelle Steinberg, she and I won a secondary doubles event and had a lot of fun there as well. But more importantly, I learned a lot of backgammon, and I spent a lot of good time with a lot of great friends and great backgammon players. Great weekend. But this is a position that Harvey Gillis showed me that came up that everybody got wrong, including me. And after we thought about it, it really became a lot more sensible as to what the right play is. So first of all, I'll let you look at this. Blue has a double four to play. Score is 11 away, 11 away. Blue is down 22 pips in the race, 86 to 64, before the roll. So, how would you play double fours here as blue? Give it a little thought, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, if you're like me, the first thing that a lot of people do here, well, hopefully you're not like me, because I think I do one part of this right. Most people start looking about the different plays that they could make. You could just run by moving these checkers. That's an obvious play, and in that case you are down in the race, but when you adjust for all of the wastage of red, it's pretty close to even. By wastage, I mean pips, and according to the Keith count or Trice formula or all the basic formulas we know, but the pip count's misleading because red has some checkers piled up on his 1 and 2 point that cause wastage. In this case, according to the Keith count, it's 2 pips for every one more than 1 on the ace point, 1 pip for every one more than 1 on the 2 point, and a pip for the open 5 and 6 point. So he's really got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pips of wastage, which means that the pip count is really about 8 pips worse for red than it appears. Blue, on the other hand, only has 1 pip of wastage for an extra checker on the 2 point. So the race is fairly close if you run, and it might be the right way to go. You might stay back, wait for a shot, try and hold red up, and in that case, the best play is pretty clear. 3 checkers from the 5 point to the ace point, keeping a 5-point board, and 6 to 2. Third play is to leave 1 checker back. Go ahead and race 1 checker and stay back and hope he doesn't roll a 6, or if he rolls a 6, maybe he'll come in and hit it. But with all of his 5s and 4s, any of those that don't contain a 6 or don't hit, you might get a decent shot here. Not to mention some double shots with how is he going to play a 4-1? How is he going to play a 4-3? There's a couple of double shots involved here. There's some good numbers for you here. So those are the 3 options. And what we teach at the Backgammon Learning Center, which is myself and Stick and John O'Hagan and David Rockwell and Perry Gardner, is not to start out that way. First, think about the big picture, which is the score, the price of gammons, and are there gammons involved here? Probably not, but there is a way. If you play a hitting game and not a racing game, it is possible that blue might get a shot and hit 2 checkers or 1 checker and win some gammons. So that's a further consideration for not playing a racing game, is that the fact that you might get some gammons in that game. And you're not going to get gammon probably regardless of what play you make as blue. Pretty hard to get gammon here, even if you leave 1 checker back and get hit. So that's one thing, but even more important in these kinds of positions is your game plan. Are you racing, priming, or hitting? Those are the 3 major game plans. And here, of course, there's no priming to be done because you don't have any of his checkers behind your prime. So it's either going to be a racing or hitting game. So you can play a racing game, and as I said, you would be very close and maybe slightly behind in a racing game. Or you can play a hitting game, and maybe you could have a distinct advantage. For one thing, the possibility of those gammons is part of it, but that's not the strongest possibility. But if you play a hitting game, and let's say that you have 2 choices, and that's to leave 1 checker back or 2 checkers back. If you leave 1 checker back, your hitting game is greatly diminished the 17 times that you get hit. That's the number of times that you get hit when you're 6 away. So almost half the rolls hit you. And when you get hit you become a pretty big underdog to be able to come in and hit back. So the only reasonable hitting game is to stay back with 2. So how many rolls helps you there? Well, first of all, you've stopped his double 6s. You've stopped him from racing very well with double 3s, so you've helped your race in those 2 instances. But what about if he rolls a 6-2, 6-1, 6-3, 5-3, 5-2, 5-1, 4-3, 4-2, 4-1, 5-4, all kinds of numbers that leave shots. That's a lot of numbers that leave shots, and if you hit, you're a big winner. If you stop and think about all the number of times you're going to get a single shot and sometimes a double shot, plus the fact that you haven't terribly hurt your race by staying back, you still get to use your 16 pips. You create a little bit of wastage by going to your ace point and opening up your 5 point, but if things go well and there is no contact and you still roll high numbers, you can still win the race that way too. So the answer is to stay here with both, and most everybody runs. Most everybody doesn't stop and think, and that was my initial reaction. I have to admit I was wrong there also. And it's a pretty big mistake to do anything but stay back and wait for the shot. Look at this, a 20% error. There are just so many numbers that hit and so many ways to slow them down. What about other numbers like a 3-2? Where if you had run, he gets the full use of those by moving these checkers. Even with those numbers, you've stopped him from racing completely. You've made him stay. You've frozen him on his 10 point. So here is a real good example of if you concentrate first on game plan and try and figure out which game plan gives you the greatest advantage or the least disadvantage if you're in a losing situation, which is the case here. Even with the best play, you're an underdog, but you're only a slight underdog as opposed to being a big underdog. So which play gives you the best advantage? And game plan will often steer you. We have a saying, game plan trumps tactics. Your tactics are how you move the checkers. Your game plan is simply that. Are you racing, priming, or hitting? What is your game plan? What is your best way to win the game? I hope this was interesting for you. Hope you had a great weekend also, and look forward to doing many more of these with you. Bye-bye.